You wake up in the middle of the night, reach for your partner, and realize your body isn't responding the way it once did. It's frustrating, maybe even a little disheartening. You wonder, is this just part of getting older, or is there something I can actually do about it? I'm Dr. Edward Moore, a board-certified urologist and men's health specialist with more than 3 decades of experience helping men fathers, veterans, grandfathers reclaim not just their sexual performance, but their confidence, their pride, and the closeness they share with their partners. Most men over 60 assume that issues with erections mean they need to pop another pill. But what if the real solution was much simpler, completely drug-free, and already sitting in your bedside drawer? I'm talking about a small silicone ring designed to help you stay firm longer, in a way that's safe and natural. It may sound almost too simple to be effective, but you might be surprised. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 6 key facts every older man should know about penis rings, how they function, who they're right for, and whether they might help you experience firmer, more reliable erections without medications, without surgery, and without shame. Stick around to the end, because I'll share a story about one of my patients, a 67-year-old man who believed his intimate life was behind him until he gave this tool a chance. What happened next changed everything for him. Before we go any further, if this information feels helpful, take a moment to subscribe and tap the bell icon so you won't miss upcoming content tailored for men just like you. And if this topic speaks to something you've been wondering about, leave a yes in the comments, or a no if it's not your thing. Your input helps me shape the advice I give going forward. Let's start with the question many men are quietly asking. What exactly is a penis ring? You might have come across the term before online, maybe at the pharmacy, but does it really work? Is it actually worth trying? As a physician, I want to break it down for you clearly and respectfully, without awkwardness or fluff. So let's begin with the first point. What is a penis ring, really? I know this isn't an easy topic to raise, not with your partner, not with your friends, and certainly not at your annual checkup. But here's something important to understand. Intimacy doesn't lose its meaning as we grow older. If anything, it often becomes more personal, more sacred. And yet, for many men, over 60, something begins to change. The desire is still there. The emotional connection is strong. But the body doesn't always cooperate like it used to. One of my longtime patients, let's call him Walter, came to me after months of silent struggle. He'd been married over 4 decades. He adored his wife, but his erections had become weaker, more unpredictable. Pills left him with pounding headaches. The idea of injections made him nervous, and surgery felt too extreme. He looked at me and said, "Doc, I just want to feel like myself again. Is there anything simple that actually helps?" That's when I introduced him to something he never expected. A basic medical-grade support ring, a penis ring. It's not a gimmick or novelty. It's a simple, medically supported device designed to help maintain erections in a natural, safe way. So what exactly is it? It's a small, flexible band typically made from soft silicone or rubber that fits around the base of the penis. Think of it like a gentle support strap. You don't wear it throughout the day or under your clothes. It's only meant to be used during arousal, right before or during intimacy, and only for a short period. The purpose is straightforward: to help sustain the erection you've already achieved. For many aging men, getting an erection isn't the issue, keeping it is. That's where this tool comes in. The ring applies light pressure to the base of the penis, which helps keep the blood in place longer, allowing for a firmer, longer-lasting erection. Now, I want to be clear about something. This isn't about pretending to be 25 again. It's not about chasing youth. It's about reclaiming a sense of control and confidence that may have faded with time. I've seen men who felt discouraged or disconnected find joy and renewed closeness in their relationships just by being open to trying something new. You might be skeptical. It sounds too basic. Could something this simple actually make a difference? I understand the doubt. But after treating thousands of men over the years, I can say with confidence, for the right person, it absolutely can. It's discreet, it's low cost, and it puts the control back in your hands. No appointments, no prescriptions, no waiting in line at the pharmacy. And no, using a penis ring doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're proactive. It means you care about your health, your intimacy, and your sense of self. Choosing to take action is something to be respected, not hidden. Now, you might be wondering, how exactly does this little ring work? What's going on inside the body that makes it so effective, especially as we age? That's where it gets interesting. Stick with me, because when you understand the science, it may shift the way you think about intimacy altogether. If you're still here, and this conversation is speaking to you, feel free to let me know in the comments. Just a simple yes will do. Let's move on now to the second key idea. Let's talk about how it works not just on the surface, but inside your body, in the systems that matter when it comes to confidence and connection. Picture this. You're in your 30s, desire kicks in, arousal follows naturally, and your body responds like clockwork. Blood flows into the penis quickly and stays there, creating a firm, steady erection. That's because your circulatory system, both arteries and veins, are functioning in perfect coordination. Arteries bring blood in. The veins' job is to hold that blood in place until the moment naturally passes. But as we grow older, and let me be clear, this is a normal part of aging, not some kind of failure. That balance between inflow and outflow begins to shift. Arteries often become less effective, especially if you've dealt with high blood pressure, diabetes, or a long history of smoking. But the bigger issue tends to be the veins. They lose their elasticity, their ability to seal things in. So even when you do feel desire and become aroused, the blood simply doesn't stay where it needs to. It escapes too early. That's why so many men over 60 find their erections don't last, not because they can't get one, but because they can't keep it. The medical term for this is venous leak. And trust me, it's one of the most common causes of erection issues in older men. I see it nearly every day in my practice. The good news? It's one of the easiest problems to manage once you understand it. And this is where a penis ring comes into play. When used properly, snug enough to do its job, but never too tight, the ring applies gentle pressure at the base of the penis. It doesn't squeeze the entire shaft, just the area where those veins are located. That light compression slows the blood from draining out too quickly. It helps you maintain the firmness you already have for longer. Now, the ring doesn't cause the erection that still comes from natural desire and stimulation, but it does help hold on to it, giving you more time, more control, and yes, more confidence. I'll never forget one gentleman, George, 71 years old, a widower who'd recently met someone new after years of being alone. He told me, "Doc, I feel the spark, I really do, but it disappears before we even get started." She tells me not to worry, but deep down, I do. When I explained what venous leak was and how it works, you could see the relief in his eyes. Not because he memorized the science, but because he finally understood it wasn't about failure. It wasn't psychological. It was simply how the body changes with time, and it was manageable. We paired him with a penis ring and a gentle vacuum device to help stimulate blood flow. A few weeks later, George came back and shared something that stuck with me. He said, "We took our time, we laughed, and for the first time in a long while, I felt like myself again." That's the beauty of knowledge. It replaces shame with clarity, and it turns frustration into action. Sometimes, all we need is a little help to open a door we thought had been shut forever. The penis ring isn't a cure for venous leak. It's a support. Just like reading glasses don't fix your eyesight, but help you see. Or how a cane doesn't heal a bad knee, but helps you walk with confidence. This simple ring reinforces what your body can still do. And that's often all it takes to bring joy and peace back into the bedroom and beyond. So, now that you understand how it works, let's move on to something just as important. Is it the right fit for you? Because this tool, like any other, isn't meant for everyone. In the next section, I'll help you figure out if it's something worth exploring or something to avoid. Knowing where you stand can make all the difference when it comes to using a penis ring safely and effectively. Let's dive into that now. 3. Who should consider using a penis ring and who really shouldn't. Every man's journey is different, and the truth is, not every solution fits every story. After years of practicing medicine, That's one of the clearest lessons I've learned. And when we talk about penis rings, what matters most isn't just how they function, it's knowing who they're right for. When used appropriately, these rings can help rebuild not just physical performance, but emotional closeness too. But used improperly, or by someone with certain conditions, they can end up doing more harm than good. Take Frank, for example, a 68-year-old retired high school teacher. He came into my office frustrated. He'd tried the typical ED pills, but the side effects hit him: hard pounding headaches, flushed face, rapid heartbeat. Worst of all, they barely helped. He looked at me and said, "Maybe this is just the end of the line for me. Maybe intimacy just isn't part of my life anymore." But he was wrong. Frank actually turned out to be a great candidate for a penis ring. He was still able to achieve an erection, it just didn't last. He had no signs of nerve damage, no serious blood circulation issues, and his medications didn't pose any major risks. For men like him, who have mild to moderate ED, especially caused by venous leak, a penis ring can be a straightforward, drug-free way to hold on to firmness during intimacy. I often recommend rings to men dealing with performance anxiety too. These are guys who can get aroused just fine, but their confidence wavers halfway through. That mental stress creates a tough cycle. The anxiety affects the erection, and the faltering erection fuels more anxiety. A penis ring can offer a kind of backup, a gentle physical reinforcement that helps men stay firm and break that loop. Once they realize they can maintain their erection, the mental pressure often starts to ease. And there are men who simply want to boost their sexual experience, no dysfunction, just a desire for more consistency or endurance. A firmer, longer-lasting erection can bring back a sense of youth and control. Many of my patients describe it as feeling more present, more alive, and honestly, who doesn't want that at this point in life? That said, part of my responsibility is making sure men know who should not use a penis ring, or at the very least, who needs to be extremely careful. If you have reduced sensation in the genital area, maybe from long-term diabetes or nerve conditions, the risk increases. You might not feel the discomfort or pressure that signals something's wrong. I've seen men accidentally wear the ring too long simply because they couldn't tell something was off, and that can be dangerous. If you're taking blood thinners, you also need to be cautious. Even light pressure from the ring can cause internal bleeding or bruising that's hard to stop. That's why a conversation with your doctor is essential before trying one. And if you've ever experienced priapism, where an erection lasts for hours without going away, this device could make that worse. That's a serious condition, and it can lead to permanent damage if not treated promptly. The bottom line? Penis rings can be incredibly helpful, but only when used with care and proper knowledge. In the next section, we'll get into exactly how to stay safe while using one, the clear do's and don'ts that every man needs to know before taking that first step. The added pressure from a ring can actually trigger another incident, and if that happens, you might need emergency treatment, or worse, face lasting damage. One more important point. If you have memory problems or tend to fall asleep quickly after intimacy, especially if you've had a drink or used other substances, using a ring may not be a good idea. It absolutely must be removed within 30 minutes to avoid tissue injury. Forgetting to take it off could lead to serious complications. Now, I know that might sound like a lot to take in, but here's the reality. A penis ring isn't some miracle solution. It's a tool, and like any tool, it needs to be used properly, with care, intention, and respect. So if you're thinking about giving it a try, ask yourself, are you the kind of man who takes his health seriously, who's willing to learn the right steps and use this device responsibly? If so, this might turn out to be one of the most empowering choices you've made in a long time. Still, even if you check all the boxes and are an ideal candidate, there are some safety guidelines that apply to everyone. These aren't scare tactics, they're simple, smart precautions that could be the difference between a great experience and a trip to the hospital. In the next part, I'll break down exactly what those guidelines are and how you can make sure you're staying safe while getting the full benefits of this small but powerful tool. If you're still with me and this has been helpful so far, drop a number 1 in the comments. It's a great way for me to know you're engaged in learning. Let's keep moving. Point 4, safety first. What every man needs to understand. Throughout my career, I've made it my mission to help men live healthier, fuller lives. And if there's one core principle I always come back to, it's this: no matter how effective a treatment might be, it only works if it's used safely. That couldn't be more true when it comes to penis rings. I've seen situations where something meant to boost confidence turned into a dangerous emergency simply because someone didn't take the safety instructions seriously or assumed they didn't apply to them. There's one story I'll never forget. Back during my residency, a man in his late 60s came into the ER. He had fashioned a homemade ring from the rim of a plastic soda bottle. He wasn't trying to hurt himself, just experimenting, maybe trying to avoid spending money. But he left that ring on too long. By the time he arrived at the hospital, the swelling was so severe that we actually had to call in the fire department to help remove it. He was in pain, completely humiliated, and terrified that he might have caused permanent damage. That experience stuck with me, and it's why I always speak clearly and directly about safety. So let me say this as plainly as possible. If you're going to use a penis ring, make sure it's one that's been designed specifically for the human body. No improvised objects. No metal washers, no rubber bands, no pieces of plastic. Those are not safe under any circumstance. Penis rings that are medically approved are made from soft, skin-safe materials like silicone or elastomer. These materials are specifically engineered to provide gentle, effective pressure without cutting off circulation. When you stick to a ring that's made for this purpose, you significantly lower the risk of injury. There's one rule you absolutely must follow. Never wear the ring for more than 30 minutes at a time. I get it, in the heat of the moment, time can get away from you. But wearing it too long can lead to real harm, including bruising, numbness, or even permanent tissue damage from restricted blood flow. If you ever experience pain, tingling, or notice any color changes like pale or bluish skin, take the ring off immediately. That's your body's way of sounding the alarm. Comfort matters too. Always use a water-based lubricant when putting the ring on or taking it off. It helps reduce friction and makes everything safer. Just a quick note: if you're using a silicone ring, steer clear of silicone-based lubes. They can break down the material and cause premature wear. A good water-based lubricant does the job just fine, and if things get dry or sticky, you can always reapply. And here's a key point, especially for older adults: never ever fall asleep with the ring on. You might think you'll remember to remove it, but after intimacy, especially if you're feeling relaxed or have had a drink, it's very easy to forget. I suggest setting an alarm on your phone as a reminder. I've seen cases where men unintentionally left the ring on overnight and ended up with serious swelling or nerve issues. And please, don't hesitate to seek guidance. Whether it's talking to your doctor, getting help from a partner, or watching a trustworthy video tutorial, taking the time to learn how to use this tool properly is a smart move. There's no shame in asking questions, quite the opposite. It's a sign you care about your health and your relationship. My hope is that you not only enjoy intimacy again, but feel empowered by it, strong, confident, and emotionally connected. Because when used the right way, a penis ring can be more than a device. It can be a gateway back to closeness, self-respect, and renewed passion. But like anything powerful, it has to be handled responsibly. Ignoring that comes with real consequences. Now, safety is crucial, but that's just one side of the coin. You might be asking, does it really help? Will I actually feel different, better if I use one? In the next part, we'll dive into exactly why so many men find this tiny tool to be a life-changing addition to their journey, and how it might just help you unlock a stronger, more connected version of yourself. Stick around, this is where the real change begins. 5. Why some men love it. The real advantages. There's a particular moment I look forward to in my practice, when a man in his late 60s or 70s walks back into my office, no longer hunched by doubt or shame, but carrying himself with subtle pride. He often doesn't begin with a question or a concern. Instead, there's a calm smile, a quiet kind of victory that says, "I tried it, and it helped." In those moments, I know the ring didn't just support an erection. It supported something more meaningful, a sense of dignity, of possibility, of being himself again. That's the deeper value many men discover. Yes, penis rings provide a physical benefit, but for many, they also trigger a mental and emotional shift. They restore a feeling of control, a sense of agency, and often a renewed connection with their partner and with themselves. These small, simple devices can have a surprisingly profound impact. One major reason they're so appreciated is how non-invasive they are. There's no surgery, no injections, no procedures. For men who feel uneasy about pills or have experienced side effects like headaches or dizziness, or who are already juggling medications for conditions like high blood pressure or diabetes, a penis ring can offer a gentler alternative. It doesn't alter your chemistry. It simply enhances what your body is already capable of. The fact that it's drug-free is a huge relief for many. No interactions, no side effects, no pharmacy lines. It's just a straightforward solution to a common issue, a mechanical fix for a physiological challenge. That simplicity is empowering. Cost is another factor that makes these devices appealing. Compared to ongoing prescription costs that can add up quickly, many high-quality rings are available for under $50, sometimes even less. And they're often a one-time purchase. There's no dealing with insurance paperwork or refill schedules. You just purchase it, learn how to use it, and regain a measure of control. Some modern rings even come with smart features, like tracking firmness or duration. I've had patients bring that data into appointments, turning vague frustrations into productive conversations. It shifts the dialogue from, "I don't know what's wrong," to, "Here's what's changing." It brings clarity and with that hope. But the most powerful feedback I hear is simple. It made me feel like myself again. That feeling of being able to show up fully, without anxiety, hesitation, or self-doubt, is priceless. It's about more than function. It's about presence, connection, and confidence. One story stays with me. A couple, married over 4 decades, came to see me together. The husband was quiet, clearly embarrassed, but his wife gently held his hand and said, "We just want to feel close again." After using the ring for the first time, he returned and told me, it wasn't just about the sex. It was lying beside her afterward, feeling proud, not worried if I let her down. That, to me, is the true gift this tool can offer. That kind of transformation is powerful, not because the ring is some miracle cure, but because it gave him the chance to fully engage without fear, without hesitation. And here's something important. You don't need a partner to benefit from using a penis ring. Many older men use it during solo intimacy as a way to stay in touch with their body, support healthy blood flow, and maintain a sense of control over their experience. But as much as I've highlighted the advantages, it wouldn't be responsible of me to ignore the drawbacks. Penis rings offer great potential, yes, but they're not a perfect fit for everyone. In fact, some men end up feeling uncomfortable, frustrated, or disappointed, especially when they pick the wrong size or design. Before you jump in, it's worth understanding a few common pitfalls. That's exactly what we're going to cover next. By learning what to watch out for, you can save yourself time, money, and possibly a painful mistake. 6. The downsides. What to consider before you try. Whenever I recommend a treatment or device, I make it a rule to be upfront, not just about what works, but also about what can go wrong. Because in health, like in life, there's no such thing as a risk-free option. Penis rings are no different. While they've helped countless men, there are very real challenges to think through before making them part of your routine. One of the first issues I often hear about is discomfort. If the ring is too tight, and that's a mistake, many beginners make it, can cause pain, numbness, or even a cold sensation. Those aren't signs of success. They're your body's way of sounding the alarm. The pressure should be supportive, not extreme. Unfortunately, some men ignore these warnings, thinking that tighter means better. It doesn't. Overcompressing the area can lead to bruising, nerve issues, and in some cases, even tissue damage. Another frequent complaint is sizing. Penis rings don't all come in adjustable styles, and getting the right fit on your first try can be frustrating. I've had men tell me they bought one online, only to find it was either too loose to stay on or so tight it caused discomfort right away. That first bad experience can be disheartening, but often, the idea isn't the problem. it's the size or style. Rings vary in width, tension, and material, and finding the right match sometimes requires a bit of trial and error. Don't let an early misstep turn you off for good. There's also the matter of how it affects ejaculation. Because of the way the ring adds pressure at the base of the penis, some men experience delayed or reduced ejaculation. For a few, particularly those who struggle with premature climax, this can actually be a welcome change, but others find it disrupts the natural rhythm or sensation they're used to. If you're hoping to conceive, or if release is an important part of your satisfaction, this effect might feel strange or unsatisfying. It's not harmful, just something to be aware of before you start. There's another challenge that deserves attention: spontaneity. Let's be real, intimacy isn't always planned. In fact, some of the most meaningful moments happen unexpectedly. So when you have to pause to grab a ring, apply lubricant, and put it on correctly, it can feel a bit mechanical. For some men, that shift breaks the emotional flow. It adds structure to something that usually feels organic. That said, many couples, especially those in long-term relationships, find that it becomes part of their rhythm, a shared understanding, a quiet routine that brings them closer, not further apart. But like any new habit, it may take a little time to feel natural. And then there's the emotional piece, the part no one talks about enough. Some men feel embarrassed about needing a device during sex. It can stir up feelings of inadequacy, even shame. I've had patients sit across from me and say, "I should be able to do this on my own." I understand where that comes from. We're taught to measure our masculinity by performance. But here's what I always tell them: needing support doesn't make you weak. It makes you wise. We don't shame people for wearing glasses when their vision fades, or using a cane when balance gets tricky. This is no different. But making that mental shift takes time. And often, it's the emotional hurdle, not the physical one, that's hardest to overcome. That's why education matters so much. It's not just about teaching how to use the ring, it's about understanding why it helps, when it's right, and what to expect. When men have that clarity, their choices become informed, empowered, and grounded in self-respect. Penis rings aren't miracle cures, but when used mindfully, with the right expectations, they can be an incredibly helpful tool. Despite the downsides, many men still walk away with something priceless: renewed hope. Not because the ring is flawless, but because it represents something bigger: the chance that pleasure is still possible, that closeness is still within reach, that aging doesn't mean giving up on connection. It simply means adapting. So now that we've talked through the science, the benefits, the risks, and the real-life experiences, you might be asking, what does success look like in the real world? What happens when a man says yes, not just to the ring, but to the possibility of feeling alive again? In the final part of this journey, I'll share one man's story and what it taught me about courage, renewal, and the beautiful truth that it's never too late to feel whole again. We began this conversation by introducing a simple yet powerful tool: a penis ring, a small body-safe device worn at the base of the penis to help sustain firmness. We looked at how it works by applying gentle pressure that slows the blood from flowing out too soon. For men dealing with venous leak or milder erectile issues, that small shift in circulation can bring a profound change in sexual performance. We also talked about who might benefit the most: men who can still get an erection but struggle to maintain it, men looking to enhance sensation or reduce anxiety in intimate moments. And we were just as honest about who should proceed with care: men with reduced sensation, those on blood thinners, or anyone who may forget to remove the ring in time. This isn't a miracle. It's a tool, and like any tool, it requires thoughtfulness, awareness, and a willingness to learn. We covered the key safety basics: no makeshift devices, nothing rigid or unsafe. Always limit usage to 30 minutes or less. Use only water-based lubricant. And most importantly, listen to your body. These aren't suggestions. They're essential rules that separate a safe experience from a harmful one. Then we explored why so many men are grateful for this option. Because it's simple, because it's non-invasive, drug-free, affordable, and private. Because it helps men reclaim something deeply personal, not just performance, but confidence, connection, and a quiet sense of dignity. I've seen it happen. I've seen men return to touch, to closeness, to lying in bed afterward feeling proud instead of apologetic. And I didn't hide the challenges. Some men find it uncomfortable or hard to size correctly at first. Some feel emotionally conflicted about needing help. But when approached with the right attitude and the right information, those concerns become manageable. In many cases, they fade away entirely. I want to end by sharing one final story. A man in his early 70s came to see me. He'd recently remarried after losing his first wife of 4 decades. He was deeply in love again and deeply discouraged by his body's limitations. "I waited so long to feel this again," he told me, "and now I feel like I'm failing her." We talked through his options, gently and without pressure. He decided to give the ring a try. A few weeks later, he came back, smiling. He said, "We laughed, we took our time, and for the first time in years, I felt like myself again, not younger, not fixed, just whole." That's what this is really about. Not chasing youth, not proving anything, but showing up present, connected, and at peace with your body. Because at any age, intimacy still matters. And you still matter. So if you're wondering whether a penis ring is worth considering, ask yourself this. Do you still feel desire? Do you still long for connection? Are you still willing to learn something new? If the answer is yes, then maybe, just maybe, this simple ring could be the beginning of something deeply meaningful. Whatever path you choose, know this. You're not too old. You're not broken. And it's absolutely not too late. You deserve connection. You deserve joy. And most of all, you deserve to feel like yourself again. So if you're sitting there wondering whether a penis ring might be worth exploring, here's what I'd tell you. If there's still a spark of desire in you, if you still crave connection, and if you're open to learning and trying something new, then yes, it's a conversation worth having with your doctor. It might not be the right fit for everyone, but for many men, it's been the unexpected start of a better, more fulfilling chapter. You're not past your prime, you're not broken, and it's certainly not too late. No matter which path you choose, always remember this. You are worthy of closeness, of pleasure, and of feeling truly like yourself again. Thanks for being here with me. If this spoke to you or gave you something to think about, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. I read each one. And if you're ready for more honest, compassionate conversations about men's health, you know where to find me. Take care of yourself. You matter.